We break up and now I got to take care of that anyway.
Right, and that's why
So,
to me,
does that make
I would
sense?
think it would make more sense to say, hey, well, if we ever break up, we would
Sell the house.
We would sell this house,
Put you
and
in
you would
something
stay in something
you could afford.
Not put you in the hood and that, especially we got kids together.
Right.
But maybe it wouldn't be this house.
Well, it could have been a scheme that Todd set up for him to come to you with the booze.
They said this divorce was going to be mature, amicable, and drama-free. But overnight, the internet flipped when new reports dropped claiming Todd Tucker has officially gone for blood. According to court gossip and leaked write-ups, Todd isn't just quietly signing papers and walking away. He's allegedly challenging the prenup people thought was ironclad, questioning how it was signed, and reportedly pushing for primary custody of the kids, while also going after a serious slice of Kandi's money. Fans are stunned, scrolling through old clips of Kandi defending him against Mama Joyce, remembering how she stood 10 toes.
I don't think Todd's worried about Kandi being fair. I feel like he wants to pound his chest a little bit because he's read the jokes.
Damn.
We'll say this, we watched that scene right before their wedding where she said, I've told you from jump, I've never wavered that I wanted a prenup. Why are you feigning confusion now? He hemmed and hawed, called his lawyer didn't pick up. She calls her lawyer immediately picks up. And in the midst of a conversation, it's revealed that he had misled his counsel to not realize that she was already splitting their assets together with any joint ventures. So on camera, we've seen him get caught being duplicitous with lies of omission to his own counsel. If you can't even tell the truth to your own lawyers, then you can't act like you're a victim if you didn't do your due diligence when I've been doing my due diligence and I've never wavered on my stance.
Down for her man, and now wondering if those warnings were never just hate, but low-key prophecy. Social media timelines are filled with people asking the same question. Was Todd playing the long game this entire time? Staying close, building businesses, smiling for the cameras, all while quietly preparing for the day he'd flip that prenup and turn their love story into a courtroom war? Nothing has been fully proven yet, but the filings, the flashbacks, and the fan theories are painting a wild picture. And if even half of these rumors are true, this is about to be one of the messiest reality TV divorces we've ever seen. When the first whispers started floating around, a lot of people brushed them off as just more internet noise. Blogs were hinting that things between Kandi and Todd had been off for a while, but because they still smiled on red carpets and posted cute family moments, fans wanted to believe the fairy tale was fine. Now that these new reports are circulating, people are going back to old clips with a whole different lens, trying to see if the cracks were always there and everybody just chose to ignore them. One of the most replayed moments is that conversation they had before the wedding, where Kandi sat across from Todd looking tired and frustrated, saying she had told him from day one she wanted a prenup and she had never changed her mind. People online keep pausing that scene, zooming in on her face like this was the moment she knew she had to protect herself. Back then, Todd played it cool in front of the cameras, but even in that scene, you can see him shifting in his seat, rubbing his face, stalling. He kept saying he needed to talk to his lawyer, but the timing was already tight. The wedding was basically in motion, and Kandi was stressed out of her mind trying to pull everything together. The way fans remember it, she wasn't asking for anything wild, just trying to make sure the money she made before him stayed her security. But the way these new commentaries and alleged filings are being described, it sounds like Todd has now turned that whole situation into his main argument, saying he felt rushed, cornered, and pressured into signing something he never truly agreed with, even though the footage shows him on camera saying he was fine, that nothing was going to stop their love. This is why social media is currently split. One side is saying, look, weddings are intense, emotions are high, maybe he really did feel pushed. But the other side is pointing to everything that came after. Once the wedding was over and the cameras moved on, Todd didn't exactly disappear into the background. He was front and center in a lot of their projects, helping manage businesses, appearing in spin-offs, and posting long chats on his own channels where he would joke and vent about how relationships and money mix. In those videos, he often talked about being a man who didn't want to feel less than just because his wife was the bigger earner. Taken on their own, those clips just sound like a man trying to figure out his role. Taken in the context of these new rumors, they suddenly feel like foreshadowing. Another moment getting dissected is that infamous conversation about what would happen if they ever split. Todd joked about not wanting to be put in the hood while Kandi stayed in a mansion. And at the time, it felt like couple banter. She laughed, Mama Joyce rolled her eyes, and everybody moved on. But now, with blogs claiming he's pushing for not just alimony, but a major child support package and a big say over the assets they built together, those old jokes are starting to sound like low-key test runs, like he was softening the ground so nobody could say he never brought it up. The narrative online is that he always had these hypotheticals in his back pocket, saying, "So if we ever break up, what do I get? How fair is it? Where do I go?" And people are now wondering if those questions were less about insecurity and more about strategy. On Kandi's side, the story that's being painted is very different. According to the way some reports and commentaries frame it, she's saying she was always transparent about finances, always open about what was hers before and what they built together. Fans are pulling up scenes where she was literally on the phone with lawyers, carefully going line by line through how the prenup split joint ventures versus her personal catalog, and how Todd had supposedly misrepresented some details to his own team. In one clip, her voice is firm, not yelling, just tired. She says something like, "I've never wavered on this. I told you from jump what I needed." And people online are now calling that the "protect your peace" moment. They're arguing that if Todd didn't like the deal, he should have walked away then, not waited years and 2 kids later to allegedly cry foul. In the middle of all this, Mama Joyce is trending like she just dropped a new single. For years, she's been painted as the overprotective, dramatic mother who never trusted Todd and always thought he was there for the lifestyle. She made jokes about his past jobs, side-eyed his motives, and was constantly accused of undermining her daughter's happiness. But with these new rumors of Todd wanting the court to look at the prenup again, asking for full or primary custody, and supposedly pushing for significant financial support, fans are pulling clips of Mama Joyce saying, "I just don't want nobody taking advantage of my child," and turning them into "She Warned Us" compilations. Whether people agreed with her delivery or not, a lot of them are now wondering if she saw something everybody else chose to ignore. Another layer that has people talking is how open Kandi was about their private life. She didn't just present herself as a businesswoman and mom, she also shared intimate details of their relationship in interviews and shows, including how they experimented to keep things exciting. She defended their choices when people judged them, saying what happened in their bedroom was their business and that their arrangement made them closer. At the time, fans praised her for being honest in a world where everyone pretends to be perfect. Now, some of those same fans are asking if the pressure to always be entertaining, to always be open, to always give content made it harder for them to deal with real problems behind the scenes. When every disagreement can be clipped, subtitled, and reposted, it becomes almost impossible to tell what was handled privately and what was turned into a storyline. Then there are the kids. Ace and Blaze have always been a part of their public image, from cute birthday clips to small family moments. When these new reports started saying Todd was positioning himself as the primary caretaker, pointing out how often Kandi travels and how he's the one on the ground with the kids day to day, the internet exploded. Some people said it made sense, that if one parent is home more, it's normal for them to ask for more structured custody. Others felt like it was a low blow, using her hard work and ambition against her. They pointed out that Kandi has always made it clear how much she loves her children, how often she brings them up, and how much of her hustle is there for their future. To them, framing her success as neglect feels like twisting the knife. What really shifted the tone, though, was the idea that the prenup itself was back on the table. Commentators are saying that Kandi's side allegedly wants the court to literally watch the footage from the show, to see Todd on camera acknowledging the agreement and confirming he knew what he was signing. This is where everything starts feeling like a reality show inside a courtroom. Imagine lawyers rolling in TV screens and pressing play on old episodes, pausing at moments where Todd nods and says he understands, or where he admits he talked to his counsel, even if briefly. The thought alone has fans shaking their heads because it blurs the line between entertainment and evidence in a way that feels almost surreal. At the same time, people are questioning Todd's long game. In old videos on his own platforms, he talks about wanting to be appreciated, not just as Kandi's husband, but as a creator in his own right. He mentions ideas he brought to the table, projects he claims he helped build, and how he didn't always feel properly credited. On their own, those comments just sound like a partner wanting recognition. But now, with rumors that he believes he's owed a bigger cut of royalties and business income than the prenup allows, those clips are being replayed as proof that he's been keeping score from the beginning. Whether that's fair or not, that's the story getting stitched together in thousands of comments and reaction videos. Through all of this, one thing everyone seems to agree on is that the situation is emotionally heavy. Whatever side people lean toward, they can see that a family is in the middle of a painful shift. Fans who grew up watching Kandi evolve from singer to mogul feel like they're watching their big sister's life fall apart in slow motion. Others who connected with Todd as the quiet, steady partner now feel confused seeing him described in these harsh, calculated terms. And in the middle of all these headlines, behind every alleged filing, behind every throwback clip, there are real conversations happening off camera that nobody gets to see. That gap between what is known and what is speculated is exactly where all the drama, all the debate, and all the messy emotions are currently living. As the story kept unfolding, more and more people started digging through every corner of the internet, trying to piece together what might actually be going on. A couple of entertainment blogs claimed they had seen early drafts of filings and responses. And even though nobody outside the court has the full picture yet, that didn't stop the theories from multiplying. One write-up claimed that Todd's team was leaning hard on the idea that he sacrificed a lot of his own career to stay home more, to help with the kids, to be available when Kandi was shooting, touring, or handling her many projects. The way those pieces framed it, Todd wasn't painting himself as a villain at all, but as someone who quietly carried more of the day-to-day load than people realized, and now wanted that to be recognized in a legal way. At the same time, people close to Kandi, or at least claiming to be, started popping up in comments and threads saying that narrative was only half the truth. According to them, Kandi never once stopped Todd from chasing his own ideas. In fact, they say she helped fund some of his projects, stood beside him during launches, and used her own name and reach to give his ventures a spotlight they never would have had otherwise. To those voices, the claim that he gave everything up feels exaggerated because, in their view, he was never blocked from doing anything. He simply had the advantage of being attached to a partner whose work already had a huge platform, and if he didn't build as much as she did, that wasn't because she overshadowed him, but because their drive and focus were different. The comments that really hit people in the gut, though, were the ones about how Kandi is allegedly reacting behind closed doors. Some insiders describe her as exhausted and heartbroken, not just from the breakup itself, but from feeling like she's being punished for the very success she fought so hard to build. She reportedly feels blindsided by how aggressive this is becoming, especially after years of defending Todd publicly when anyone questioned his intentions. Fans are saying it must feel wild to watch old clips where she shuts down jokes about him being an opportunist, only to now see headlines that make it sound like he's trying to squeeze every possible benefit out of the split. Again, nobody outside of their inner circle knows the whole truth, but just the idea of that emotional whiplash is enough to keep timelines on fire. There's also a lot of talk about the dynamic in their home before all of this came out. Some people remember scenes where Todd would bring up how he felt outnumbered by the women around him, how he sometimes felt disrespected, or like his opinion didn't carry enough weight in the group. At the time, those moments were played for drama and laughs on screen, but now they're being revisited as signs of a deeper resentment that might have been growing beneath the surface. Was he feeling overshadowed not just financially, but emotionally by Kandi's strong personality and her close bond with her mother and aunties? Did he start counting every slight, every disagreement, every time he felt like he was on the outside, and fold all of that into the decision to now take a harder stance in this separation? Another theme that keeps popping up is how public this all is, even when technically a lot of it is still just commentary and speculation. This isn't a quiet couple in a small town. This is a family that has lived in the spotlight for years. Every time Kandi smiled through a reunion, every time Todd shrugged off a shady joke, every time Mama Joyce gave a look, it turned into gifs and memes. Now, with this alleged battle over custody and money, all of those little moments are being turned into evidence by fans who feel emotionally invested in a story they only know through edited episodes and short clips. It's like the audience has decided they're part of the jury, replaying scenes as if they're in a courtroom, even though real judges are the only ones whose opinions actually matter. And then there are the kids again, right at the center of it all. People are debating what full custody or primary custody would even look like in a situation like this. If Todd really is pushing for the kids to be with him most of the time because Kandi is often on the road or on stage, some argue that it could mean more stability in terms of schedule. Others insist that no matter how busy Kandi is, she has never come off as a distant mother. They point out how often she has included her kids in her achievements, how she's spoken about building generational wealth, making sure they'll never have to struggle the way she once did. To them, the idea of tying her work ethic to a claim that she's less fit to share equal time with her children feels unfair, like punishing a parent for doing exactly what they always said they were doing to give their family a better life. Friends and colleagues are also being dragged into the conversation, even if they haven't said much publicly. People are watching who likes what post, who leaves a heart emoji under Kandi's picture, who reposts an old clip of the couple laughing together. Silence itself is being treated as a statement. If a castmate said something supportive on a podcast, that audio clip gets sliced, captioned, and thrown into the wider narrative as confirmation of whose side they're on. Even neutral comments like, "It's sad when any family goes through this," get interpreted as quiet shade or coded support, depending on who's listening. In reality, a lot of those folks probably just don't want to set themselves on fire by jumping into somebody else's divorce. But the internet rarely leaves room for neutral ground. For Mama Joyce, every tiny thing connected to her is now a headline. If she's spotted out in public looking unbothered, people call it victory energy. If she looks tired, people say the stress is finally catching up. Fan pages are recycling old confessionals where she warned Kandi about rushing into things, or where she questioned Todd's motives around money and property. Regardless of whether her delivery was always kind, those warnings are being framed as the blueprint for everything that's happening now. Some users even joke that she should sit in court beside Kandi as co-counsel, as if years of suspicion and side-eye have somehow turned her into an unofficial strategist for this whole situation. Meanwhile, discussions around the actual prenup are getting more technical. Viewers who never cared about legal paperwork before are suddenly talking about clauses, timeframes, signatures, and pressure. Some say that if Todd truly felt rushed or misinformed, he should have pulled the brakes before walking down the aisle. Others counter that emotional pressure can be just as real as legal pressure, especially when cameras are rolling and there's a whole machine behind a televised wedding. Then, someone else jumps in to remind everyone that clips from the show reportedly show Todd calmly acknowledging the terms and saying he understood them. It turns into a loop, with fans arguing over what matters more: what's on paper, what's on camera, or what nobody but the two of them experienced when the lights were off. The wider conversation has also started touching on the uncomfortable truth that when a woman is the bigger earner, people often struggle with how to talk about that in a breakup. In so many stories, it's the man handing out checks and the woman fighting to keep her lifestyle. This time, the roles are flipped, and it's making some people admit how biased their instincts are. When Todd is described as asking for child support and financial support to maintain a certain standard, some call him calculated. Others ask, but isn't that exactly what happens in reverse all the time? The debate gets heated because it's not just about them anymore. It's about all the feelings people have around gender, money, and power. Through it all, the only constant is that emotions remain high. Every day there's a new angle, a new clip, a new thread claiming to have the real tea. And yet the core of the story stays the same. Two people who once promised to be together forever are now being picked apart by millions of strangers, while lawyers quietly build cases in the background. The line between genuine concern and messy entertainment keeps getting thinner, and fans are left trying to figure out where they stand. Are they watching a love story crumble, or are they witnessing the final chapter of a long, complicated saga that was always more fragile than it looked on TV? Right now, nobody has a clear answer, but that isn't stopping anyone from tuning in to see what comes next. By the time more details started trickling into the blogs, the whole situation had turned into a case study for how fast public opinion can spin. One day, people were just sharing old funny clips of Kandi and Todd joking about money, love, and blended family life. The next day, that same footage was being slowed down, captioned, and repurposed as evidence that this breakup was always waiting to happen. A few commentators started connecting dots between Todd's older conversations about feeling overlooked and these new claims that he deserves a bigger cut and more control. Even though nobody outside the legal teams has seen every line of paper, the way some bloggers describe it, Todd's side seems ready to argue that he wasn't just a tag-along, he was a builder, a parent, and a partner who now wants the court to validate that. According to some sources, there are people in Todd's corner who feel like the internet has never been fully fair to him. They say he walked into a situation where the audience already loved Kandi, already trusted Mama Joyce, and already had opinions before he had even finished introducing himself. From that point of view, every time he tried to stand his ground, it was framed as ungrateful or opportunistic, and any request about money or property was automatically seen as suspicious. Now, those same supporters are using that history to explain why he might be taking a stronger position in this split. They say he's tired of always being painted as the one who should be grateful he was chosen instead of a man with his own needs and rights. On the other hand, people who admire Kandi's journey see it totally differently. They remember how young she was when she started working, the sacrifices she made, the bad business deals she had to learn from, and the way she slowly built her empire brick by brick. To them, the idea of someone coming in after all that groundwork and then allegedly trying to renegotiate the safety net she fought for feels deeply wrong. Many of her fans see the prenup as a symbol of everything she survived before Todd, not as an attack on him personally. They argue that protecting what she brought into the relationship does not mean she loved him any less. It just means she refused to gamble her entire future on a romance, no matter how good it looked in the moment. In the middle of all the noise, commentators keep circling back to the emotional weight of it all. Imagine, they say, defending your partner for years, standing between him and your own family's suspicions, only to now face headlines that make it look like he's trying to dismantle the very protections you insisted on from the start. Rumor has it that Kandi feels like her trust is being tested in the worst possible way. Even if she always knew a prenup could be challenged, she might not have expected the push to come with such intensity, especially with talk of full custody requests and accusations about who did what in the marriage. One of the most talked about hypotheticals goes like this. Imagine the court actually does roll in the footage from those old episodes. Imagine Todd sitting there while a clip plays of him calmly telling a notary that he understands what he is signing, that he's had enough time, that no one is forcing him. Now imagine his lawyer saying that emotionally he still felt boxed in, that he was worried the wedding would be called off, that he was trying to hold on to the relationship no matter what. It becomes this strange clash between how something looks on screen and how it might have felt in private. People are already debating whose side a judge would lean toward in a situation like that, even though none of them are actually in that courtroom. Another layer that has everyone talking is how the children's schedule might change if the court takes Todd's claims seriously. Some reports say he's emphasizing how often the kids are already with him when Kandi travels for work, using that existing pattern to argue that giving him primary physical custody would be a smoother transition. On paper, that might sound practical. Emotionally, though, fans see it as a heavy blow. They picture Kandi sitting in a dressing room between shows, reading lines in a document that suggest her grind, her dreams, and her hustle make her less suitable to have the kids with her as much as she wants. Whether that's exactly what's written or not, the very idea is painful for people who have long admired her as a loving, hardworking mom. Friends and colleagues are being dragged into this story even without directly participating. A castmate might simply post a vague message about protecting your peace or knowing your worth, and instantly comments fill up with people assuming it's about Kandi. If someone keeps following Todd on social media and doesn't unfollow him publicly, that turns into a mini scandal of its own. People are reading meaning into silence, emojis, and old photos. One person even pointed out that a picture from years ago where Todd stands a step behind Kandi at an event now hits different because it looks like a visual metaphor for their entire relationship. That's how intense the projection has gotten. Then you have the fans who are caught in the middle. They remember all the moments that made them root for this couple in the first place. The blended family struggles, the scenes where Todd seemed calm while others were in chaos, the moments where Kandi broke down in tears and he quietly supported her. They ask how you reconcile that version of him with this newer picture being painted in blogs and commentaries. Was he loving and genuine the whole time, and things just fell apart in a complicated way? Or was he quietly keeping a scoreboard nobody could see? Depending on who you ask, you'll get completely different answers, but the confusion itself is very real. The money conversations have also forced a lot of people to think about their own relationships. Comment sections are filled with women saying they want a prenup now, no matter how romantic everything feels. Others say they still believe in starting from scratch together and sharing everything equally. Some men chime in, saying they understand why Todd might feel uncomfortable living in a house his wife owned before they married, especially if his name wasn't fully attached to it the way he wanted it. Others argue that if you walk into a relationship with someone whose life is already established, you can't act surprised when they protect what they built before you arrived. In the middle of all the think pieces and long threads, there are little details that keep popping up and adding fuel to the fire. Old interviews where Todd jokes about what he would do if he ever got tired and left suddenly take on darker meaning for some viewers. Throwback clips of Kandi nervously smiling while discussing their disagreements around business or trust feel heavier now. Every throwaway line becomes a clue, every laugh becomes a mask, at least in the way fans are choosing to interpret them. It's like a giant puzzle that everyone is trying to solve, even though pieces are obviously missing. Through all this, one thing that's impossible to ignore is how much pressure public couples carry. When love is shared as content, when arguments become ratings, when private milestones are packaged as episodes, the line between real life and the storyline gets blurry. People start performing even when they think they're just being honest, and they may not realize how those performances can later be replayed in ways they never imagined. Now, with rumors of legal teams possibly using old footage in serious conversations, it's becoming clear just how permanent those moments really are. And yet, for all the speculation, there are still only two people who truly know what it felt like to be inside that marriage day after day. The rest of us are just watching reflections on screens, listening to secondhand accounts, and filling in the blanks with our own experiences and beliefs. That's part of what makes the situation so gripping for some and so upsetting for others. It feels familiar and distant at the same time. One couple's private heartbreak has turned into a public mirror, showing everyone else the messy mix of love, money, ego, family, and dreams that lives behind every polished picture. As the chatter grew louder, it stopped feeling like just another celebrity storyline and started sounding more like a cautionary tale people were using in their own lives. Timelines were full of posts from folks saying things like, "This is why you have boundaries," or "This is why you protect your money," or even, "This is why you listen when your mama says something feels off." It was wild to watch the shift. A relationship that once looked like a power couple dream is now being pulled apart piece by piece in public, all while nobody outside their circle really knows what was said behind closed doors when the cameras were not around. Some commentators began painting a picture of Todd as a man who might have been quietly building a case while everyone else thought he was just going along with the vibes. They pointed to how often he talked about feeling like his contributions were underestimated, how he gave stories about past partners who catered to him and tried to make sure he felt like a king. In those old clips, he laughed and joked about wanting a certain kind of treatment, but now those same quotes are being replayed as hints that he always had a very clear picture of what he believed he deserved in a relationship. People are saying he took that mindset straight into this marriage and is now trying to cash in on it during the split. On the other side, people close to Kandi, or at least claiming to be, say that she is deeply hurt by how all of this is unfolding. The way they describe it, she thought the prenup was their safety net, something they agreed on to avoid exactly this kind of messy fight. She believed that by being clear up front, by saying this is what I need to feel secure, they were walking into the marriage with honesty. Now, if the rumors about him wanting the agreement reconsidered are real, it feels to her like he is not only pushing against the contract, but against the trust that came with it. Like he waited until everything was built and then tried to redraw the lines after the fact. And hanging over all of this is that old conversation where she said on camera that she was not going to change her mind about having a prenup. That moment is now being treated like a key piece of history. Viewers remember the tension in the room, the way she sat there, exhausted from wedding stress, still holding firm on what she needed. They remember him delaying, wanting more time, calling his lawyer, dragging his feet. Lots of people are saying that was the crossroads. If he really couldn't accept her terms, they argue he should have walked away then. Others insist that love makes people compromise in ways they later regret, and that it's not so simple to call it manipulation or strategy. What makes the situation feel even heavier is the way it's forcing fans to confront uncomfortable questions about gender and power. If a woman asks for support and property in a split, a lot of people barely flinch. They see it as standard, especially if the man was the main provider. But now that the roles are reversed in this story, with Todd reportedly asking for strong financial support, some people are struggling to talk about it without exposing their own double standards. There are voices saying, if the law says one thing when the husband is rich, it should say the same when the wife is rich. Others push back, arguing that context matters, that history matters, that this isn't just about numbers on paper, but about how much each person built before the vows were even exchanged. All of that gets mixed together with the emotional backdrop of a blended family. There are kids from previous relationships, elders who have already been through their own heartbreaks, and extended relatives who now have to decide how publicly they want to align themselves. Some are probably telling Kandi in private that they never trusted him and now feel validated. Others may be quietly telling Todd that they always believed he was unfairly judged and this is his chance to stand up for himself. Those conversations will never see light, but their energy can be felt in how each side moves, in what gets leaked, and in how calm or chaotic things seem on the outside. Then there's the reality show layer that makes everything more complicated. This is not a couple that lived entirely in private. So many key moments of their journey were filmed, edited, and broadcast. That means there are tapes,